background here, we're going to be talking about one of DC's biggest pop cultural characters, The Flash. Specifically, the Flash show, not movie. Let's just dive into the thoughts and everything. I haven't seen the finale yet. I'm super far into the 9th season so far. 4 episodes in. Let's just go over like the show in its entirety, right? So let's go over season 1, okay? So the Flash season 1 was a really different feel. It was the CW at its best, arguably, okay? People see that season was the best season for some reasons, like it was more realistic. When Barry would run, he would set his clothing on fire. There was a lot more science to consider, and the villain was a huge focus and priority in the season. And it was a really well done race against the clock, literally. Like, his speed being his greatest power, also his greatest weakness. And there are so many elements of him losing his mother, his father being in prison, and it was just very retro Flash, and it was just comic level Flash. That's the Flash. Season 1 was the perfect season. It was just everything the Flash needed to be, and it set the tone for the entire series. Now Season 2 is where stuff changes, but Season 1 is more street level, developing powers and growing, and year 1 type Flash, as it should be. Year two, which is Season 2, which is where Zoom comes in, the next villain. After encountering Reverse Flash, having an amazing finale there, losing Firestorm and all that stuff, a lot of great scientific stuff, we get into more of theory-based stuff. Like we learn about the multiverse. We learn about more Flash's abilities, like his ability to, the speed round is already a thing, but to be so fast he's in 2 places at once. We get to see Zoom do it again. We get to see him lose his father. And we get to see a final breaking point at the end where he creates Flashpoint. But throughout Season 2, so much happens. So much grows. And see, one thing in Season 1 that was done... You know what? Season 1 could get away with it because it was their early trope. But their Villain of the Week thing, as it went on, made so many episodes feel less meaningful. So the problem with The Flash is you can label these as filler or not, but they did establish a lot of stuff for the characters. But when they focused on the villains in a way that was weird, it was weird because the villains were very face level, and like sure they had motives and stuff, and you could understand it, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them became very like cliche and niche. Like I forgot her name, but the chick with that controls the metal around her arm and everything. She became very, very cliche and niche, like any other villain. But she was very interesting. It was really interesting to see Killer Frost develop too around Season 3. It was good to see tremors of that, and the thing that was amazing about Season 2 is you got to see Barry see his father's face again, but on a different person, as Jay Garrick, which was really great. John Wesley Shipp was really good in that role. Let's just cover Grant Gustin as a whole. He was phenomenal, beautiful as a Flash. Really well done, sold the performance. There are so many low points and high points, and there's so much he lost and had to give up. Now, Season 3 is where I think the final breaking point happened, right? That was the 3rd consecutive Speed Force villain. They wanted to give the fans a new feel. But this season was very much so the darkest out of the bunch. The entire idea of this season was, again, another racing time clock against a villain that we had no idea of the identity of. The identity of the Reverse Flash was kept secret too in the 1st season with a new character, Harrison Wells, sorry. The 2nd season, his doppelganger came as Harry Wells. For this season, I think there was another Harry there, but that being aside, it was the guy sacrificed himself. Was it Sherlock? He was a detective. We got to see the Reverse Flash, and we got to see Flashpoint. Now, Flashpoint. Flashpoint is supposed to be this massive event in all of DC. It was the rebooting. So when Flashpoint happened in the comics, that's when DC acquired too many properties and they didn't all line up storyline wise. So they wanted to fit them all in perfectly to a story that made sense. So they did that by rebooting it, and they used Barry as a scapegoat. And pretty much this is Barry having his breaking point of losing his father, losing his mother, and wanting the life he never had. And it was diluted a bit because we didn't get to see the other characters in there, other superheroes, other villains. And the aftermath was iffy. We did get to see Wally West as the Flash, like the first Flash. And it was cool. Sister-brother duo. We got to see Wally go through a lot. Got to see him gain his speed and lose his speed. And yeah, Flashpoint was interesting for sure. And I love the suit. They kept the suit the same for Wally West, and they always change the Flash's suit. It looks more comic accurate, like the one on screen right now. But they definitely stylized it a bit, like a bit of, they had a triangle here and everything. But yeah, it looks sick, like the new suit. And yeah, so season 3 culminates. They save Iris. There Wells dies. Sherlock Wells dies. We also do get to meet no, not yet. The next season is where we meet Digby, and next season is where people find it got bland. They said it was bad because Barry was in prison a lot. Okay, I think taking away focus from the main character is bad in any show, of course, but I think the side characters should be important. How do you find a balance with it? This was a cool way of doing it, because we got to see Barry in this season really come into his own and be the Flash, like one of the most powerful iterations of himself, if not the most powerful iteration of himself, because he goes ridiculously fast. Like when he fights DeVoe, Comic Books versus the World, a great YouTube channel, I would recommend it heavily, went over the science of how fast he would have had to go within the picoseconds to cover the distance he did, and did have speed boost, but he would have had to travel at least 1,000 times the speed of light, or more. And that, I don't even think that was his top speed. He's had crazy speed feats throughout the entire show, and a lot of these scenes were really well done for a show with the budget that it had, and the CGI restraints that they had, and the times constraints, and the fact that it was only funded via commercials and stuff. And they did give it on a streaming service, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like your big box office release movie, but the feel of season 1 was at least on par with that. At least a detective movie, so to speak. Not a superhero movie, but a detective movie, for sure. The drama was great, the romance is good. But yeah, those very well choreographed as a show as a whole till season 4, and I think season 5 is where it went off the rails. I know, hot take, but season 5 is where everything, like, they tried to debuff Barry as much as possible, and it didn't make much sense. His suit looked weird with his chin hanging out, you know. But one thing about this Flash is you have to have the jaw strap. I know, Gangrel hated it. But yeah, I think the villain was done a huge disservice of that season, Cicada. The lightning bolt and everything. I like the plot twist with Thrawn coming back and teaching Nora. So those are highlights. Barry and Nora had a lot of good relationship moments. And season 6 is where it comes back. You know, we get to see the best crossover. Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is still referred to this day. We got to see Grant Gust and Ezra Miller on the same screen. On TV, like on regular broadcast. Crazy. And yeah, it was a brilliantly done crossover, but again, the power levels weren't there, but it was like a thing of numbers for their army. The Anti-Monitor was cool. I got like a lot of like feel like Hadouken, you know, like they're just releasing power, and it was kind of interesting. We gotta see, you know, Supergirl come in through there, Superman, and all that stuff, which is so interesting. And Superman and Lois is definitely the best of the CW shows. Most consistent, a lot going on, very, you know, in the feels, family based. It has a strong core and it hasn't left it yet. And the thing about the Flash is it tried so many things. I commend it for it for like 1,000%. But even now, it's so hard to see the original show that it was from season 1. It's just, they create a bunch of logic and rules and laws of this force and that force, and they just completely disacknowledge it. And like, you know, it's come around, and I find that season 8 was really the series where everything, the season where like everything kind of made sense, because they brought back Heatwave or whatever, and made in Deathstorm. We got to see Caitlin go through like a lot of emotional trauma and stuff, losing Frost, this and that. Barry stopping her from recreating Frost, which is interesting. The worst parts were like Chillblaine and stuff. It was very cringy. Like he's a really good character, don't get me wrong, but the fact that he has muscles isn't that impressive. Like Oliver's pretty cool with muscles, but like he didn't walk around with a fucking abs out and everything, walking around Central City, not Central, his city respectively. He was wearing a full-on suit. Chillblaine was like abs out. Like I think they should have made a joke about that and cut him like clean in half. And the fact that he's a villain now wasn't that much of a surprise, because he was a villain in the beginning. But altering the time stream, see it. What I'm seeing right now with Red Death is very interesting. So season 9, why it's a letdown is, as a whole, I think it'll be good, but there's a lot of cringy stuff in there still. Like anything with Chillblaine as a character is very just, I hope they culminate it well. I hope everything goes well. I wish to show nothing but the best, and I've always been there for the ups and the downs. There are times I've wanted to stop watching, there's times where I have stopped watching it, and I do it in one night. But yeah, like season 8 I find was the season I was most engaged in. Like genuinely. Because so much happened in there. The forces. But see, season 6, So season 5 was stuff went off the rail. Season 6, it was gaining its wits about it again. But I think the entire Forces arc did make it slow down some speed. Right now, it pays off, of course. They've made up for it, but how it was done wasn't amazing. You know, some of the stuff was better than the others, but the whole mother-father thing and how the Forces were created out of Iris, it doesn't make much sense in that way. I wish the Force story was a bit more mystery and intrigue. You know, I wish it didn't all equate to just Iris. The Iris having powers, I don't mind it, honestly. I think her power is just being her. She's a really good reporter, and she was killer in the first season at reporting and almost dying every now and then, so yeah. So, I think we should go over a clip real quick. I want to see this finale clip, so let's just give my thoughts on it, and let's do a reaction if the camera will pop up. So the sneak peeks, this and that. We did a breakdown. Paige is a great channel for us to go through. Chillblaine is on Flash's side again. Okay, I noticed that. And wait, Eddie's villain was in it. That's him. I was getting into like the whole family thing and they all have speed powers. A lot of the villains don't really do. Wait, what? Yeah, he has speed too? Allegra.
You can't beat me, or that every time you kill, you lose another piece of your soul.
Oh, nice. Why did she just phase into the suit? They know how to beat all these villains. They've already beat them. Right, you should do that. You should do that.
Now that's how you do it, people. Hey.
Just mentally disabling all of them. They can play.
We're gonna find a way to stop it.
Maybe. Maybe not. But either way. Just so you know, just so you're aware of the whole timeline of events here. After I kill you, I'm gonna kill your boss because I don't care what any upgraded ancestor of mine
This is not
might
that bad
say.
choreographed.
Barry Allen's life is mine to take. Yours.
He's just winning them. I think he's the kingpin here, and everybody else is just losable. I cannot wait to see this in its entirety. This show is actually